Welcome back to another episode of Monday Mojo. This is my personal favorite episode because it's episode number 7. And if you don't like the number 7, then you can stop listening. My name is Max Schwabe. I'm here with my co-host Chris Soba and my what do you call yourself? Producer Evan Barron, aka EPUB. We've got a lot to talk about this week, most notably because your Mariners are sitting at the top of the freaking standings in the West. Isn't that right, Chris?
That's a fact. That's a fact, baby. The M's are 10 and 6.
What's the record? 10 and 6?
Yes, coming up a great series versus the Astros, getting 2 of 3. Then Greinke last night. He had a hell of a last night. This is on Saturday because Monday Mojo recorded on a Sunday, dropped on a Monday. Greinke had a great outing, but today the boys went off, and it was great to see Mitch and Ty France doing their thing. Mitch and Ty, both of them today, they batted 4 for 7. There were 2 doubles, the triple, a dinger, 6 ribbies, and 4 runs out of those guys. That's their stat line that they brought to the table today. So that's just astronomical.
Can you repeat that stat line one more time?
Yeah, 4 for 7. 2 doubles.
And this is Mitch Haniger and Ty France.
Yeah. Our 1 and 2 guys. A 1-2 punch at the top of the lineup, baby.
Yeah.
4 for 7, 2 doubles, a triple, a dinger, 6 ribbies, and 4 runs.
That is astronomical.
It is astronomical. And one other thing I really want to point out today, what we saw, we had 5 walks. The team took 5 walks. 3 of those 5 walks ended up coming around to score. And so JP was one of those walks. He had an 8-game hitting streak going into today. He didn't get a hit, but he still took a walk, and he ended up coming around to score on one of Hanny's doubles. So that's just going back to what we've been preaching here about Jerry DePoto's, dominate the zone, can't get a hit, take a walk. It's going to end up helping. 5 walks, 3 come around to score. I mean, goddamn, that's amazing.
Yep.
I like also just to see the fight in this team as well. The game that you went to, Chris, on Friday, where they were down 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th. And Evan White, he saw his potential. He went yard there. Big home run, way to step up. And then, the M's just kept battling, and Ty France with the walk-off double. Viva la France. And
Viva la France,
yeah.
Baby.
So, and then today, too, the Mariners were down 2-1, and they just fought back and exploded on the offensive side. And just, they're keeping it going.
I had a buddy that texted me this past week with a lot of what one would call negative enthusiasm directed towards Evan White, because as we've mentioned, I think on one of the episodes, a lot of people are starting to lose their patience with Evan White. He's got a hell of a glove, but his bat needs to come alive. I have a buddy, Devin, if you're listening out there, this one's for you, but he had some choice words about Evan White. And
what's this guy's name? What's your buddy's name here?
His name is Devin Gunter.
All right, Devin Gunter, chill. Relax. You know what? I don't give I obviously care about his bat, and he's going to do what we need him to. He'll get it figured out. But the guy is just undeniably so great in the field. Like he had a phenomenal catch today, diving to get a foul ball and made that catch to end the inning. He had multiple diving plays at first base today. He had multiple scoops at first base today. Anything thrown in his vicinity is getting caught. I mean, he's an absolute mastermind at first base. And so his hits are going to come, but Devin, chill.
No, well, hold on. To Devin's defense, are his hits going to come? It's like,
yeah,
how can you be so sure to say that? I know
because he got our first ribby today.
No, I understand that. No. I'm saying that he's showing signs of life, which is great. But there's a lot of instances out there where we do have guys that, take for example, JP Crawford, right? He's starting to explode. He's starting to really take shape in the box.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, he wasn't producing. And if you take like a stud like Evan White in the field, maybe, and I didn't ask him directly, but maybe his frustration was more so wanting him to be successful, because if you have a great fielder like Evan White in the field and with so much potential, but a guy batting, at the time he was batting 130 or something, right? Yeah. It shows frustration. And we want a first baseman that can hit like he does field.
Well,
Um,
I think also it's his second, year in the league, and last year was a shortened season, so that wasn't even a full 162 game season.
yeah,
And Evan White went straight from Double A to the MLB. He didn't even go through Triple A, so it's an adjustment, with hitting in the MLB and just learning different pitchers and how they operate. And so I just think you got to give a little bit more time, be a little bit more patient with it. And he's still super young too, but
He
yeah.
is. He is. And one thing else I want to know here is success is contagious. And with the amount of success that the rest of the lineup continues to have, it's going to trickle down and it's going to trickle and domino effect to the rest of the guys. They're going to start doing their thing. And one big thing that happened with JP, obviously last year he was our leadoff guy. So this year with Mitch coming back, we want Mitch to get as many at-bats in every single game as possible. Hence, we're going to put him on as leadoff. And so we switched JP Crawford to go to the ninth. He's batting ninth. Normally, sometimes he's batting eighth like he did today. But when he's batting ninth, if he can get on base like he's been doing in this recent hot streak that he's been on, and then we get Mitch Haniger to come up, and then after him we have Ty France, then after him we have Kyle Seager. Starting hopefully tomorrow, if not by Tuesday. After that will be Kyle Lewis. We are gonna. Damn, it's gonna be powerful.
Jesus,
it's gonna be powerful.
Hey, I want to take this opportunity to maybe potentially introduce a new segment on the show. It's called Sit Down. So Devin Gunter, if you're out there listening, sit down. All right.
I like that.
Evan White's coming back. Just giving some time. If he's still batting, well, actually, we're not going to leave that out there for him. Anyway, we're very excited about where we are right now. The Astros started off.
We're thrilled about where we are right now. This is amazing.
The Astros started off real hot. Then when they came to town, they were on a 5-6 game losing streak. So who knows if we caught them while they were sleeping, or if they're going to stay this way. I hope they stay this way. But Chris, another thing I wanted to ask, why is your voice so shitty?
Oh man, I had so much fun. I didn't plan on going to 2 games this weekend, but Friday happened. I had a buddy call and I was like, "You want to go to the game?" I was like, "All right, let's go." And we went, and Viva La France doing his thing with the walk-off. That was electric. The entire stadium was electric. After we won that game, man, we were going around the stadium, high-fiving everybody. Everybody's losing their minds. And after, outside of the stadium, horns are honking. It felt like it was just so electric. And it was pretty much a sold-out crowd. I think there were like 40 seats that weren't sold out or something. It was just under 9,000.
Keep in mind, this is 9,000 out of
Yes. It's 9,000 out of that large number.
Sellout crowd, my ass.
Sellout crowd for what was allowed. But we had so much fun. And then I did Oscar the Grouch on last night, Saturday night.
How'd that go?
That was a freaking hit. I'm not kidding, over like 50 people asking for my photos. I had the Monday Mojo sign in every single one of those photos. Better believe that. Got to represent the pod. Promotions. It's what we got to do. But I got on the Jumbotron. I was running around, and it was a lot of fun, man. People were loving it. It got texts of being on TV and whatnot. But my voice is gone. I was yelling real, real loud. I got another ball. This was just thrown to me when I was walking by the bullpen. One of the pitchers, I don't know who it was, but one of the pitchers just threw me a ball. He's like, hey, get ready. He tossed me a ball. I was like, "Oh man, let's go." It was sweet.
Do you think he got the reference?
Oh, come on.
Of the Oscar. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, how was it in T-Mobile Park with how are the fans hating on the Astros?
Dude, so much yelling, so much booing. Everybody was about it. It was so much fun, just shaming them, getting them what they deserve. And that they can hear it. It was just so loud. I mean, the players were talking about it. Mitch Haniger was talking about it in the post game today, just saying it's so great to have fans back and hearing this energy, and they're obviously feeding off of it. I mean, goddamn, when JP, is that my dog? Oh man, Ghost, get out. Jeez Louise. But yeah, JP, when he came rumble around the plate today, just electricity. It was so great to see. Then Tom Murphy scored on a Mitch Haniger double from first base.
He was hyped when he scored too.
That's got to be the fastest catcher in the league. I mean, goddamn, he was showing off his wheels. He had a really athletic slide into home plate, and he jumps up. Safe. It was awesome.
Is anyone else losing patience with Tom Murphy though?
Max, man, it's 16 games in the season. Chill out.
That's another segment called Sit Down. Max Schwabe.
Schwabe, sit down. No, I'm not losing any. I haven't lost any patience with anybody. I think everything that's going right now. Obviously, our errors got to Siegs at 2 today. I don't know what that's about. Our errors gotta go away. We got to stop doing those. That's just not gonna help. We should have swept the Orioles, but we had a couple of errors. Ty France had a couple of errors that really kind of gave them more runs. We could have swept the Orioles easily. We should have swept the Orioles. I mean, but still, to sweep them in one of the doubleheaders. I mean, I don't know what the number is, but it's super low for teams to sweep a doubleheader day. It's almost always a split.
There's nothing worse than losing two ball games in a day, and there's nothing better than winning 2 in one day. So
yeah, ain't nothing better than winning 2 in one day. That's what we did. We took it to the L's, and then shout out to EPUP because he did predict the 3-1. I went with the 4-0. Max went with Max, you went with the split. Like I don't know what you're.
I went split. What do you mean? I went with the split. We met in the middle. Evan is the voice of reason here.
He is.
But Chris, I do want to ask because we talked about like Justin Dunn, Marco looking for bounce back performances. What did you guys both see out of them this week? Because they picked up the W, especially Justin Dunn. He looked really good.
Yeah, he looked really good.
I haven't really seen that from him. That's like the first time I've really seen like how much potential he has. He looked like he had command of the zone and all that. And so what did you guys see from him?
I mean, yeah, his confidence was through the roof. I mean, he was pitching with swagger and his heat was working. I mean, he was getting ahead of guys this time and trusting his stuff. And he was coming more with his fastball and just locating it better. I mean, I wasn't able to see too much of it because those are the day games during the middle of the week and I was working. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What about you, Maxie?
I saw.
Yeah, real quick, listeners. Max has COVID right now.
Well, we were going to get to that, and that was going to be the topic that, Jesus Christ. Yeah, well, listeners, I'm sorry to have let you down. It's funny that Chris went to 2 Mariner games, and he wasn't expecting to go to 2 Mariner games because I fully was expecting to go to 2 Mariner games over the weekend, but yours truly came down with COVID. PSA for all you listeners out there, if you haven't gotten vaccinated, the virus is still freaking out there. So don't get it. It's not fun. For those of you who are concerned, I am feeling a lot better. Wednesday was a miserable day for me. I felt feverish, lots of headaches, scratchy throat. I think and I think I was telling you this, Chris, the symptom that really drove me nuts was confusion. It's like when you're sick, like in your grade school days, and you wake up with like the flu, and your mom and or dad takes care of you, there's just like a sense of confusion.
Well, I'm glad you're doing good now, though.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot better now. Taste and smell haven't gone away just yet. No, yeah, I still have.
Oh, they're not going away then. They're not going away.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. But anyways, enough COVID talk. I don't really care. I'm glad you're doing well, though. That's all I care about.
Wow.
I'm glad I don't have it. But where were we? What were we transitioning to before I interrupted? I'm sorry.
Oh, we were just talking about the Mariners pitching against Baltimore.
Let's just talk about their bullpen actually real quick. Our bullpen, the Mariners bullpen, the beautiful bullpen that is tied for being the best with the Los Angeles Dodgers. First of all, today, our bullpen went 5 innings, 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 1 walk with 4 Ks. They've just been great to see in the last 10 games. Actually, this was before the game ended today, but in the last 10 games, the Mariners bullpen's tied with the Dodgers first in the MLB with the 1.76 ERA and 5-1 on save opportunities with a .190 opponent batting average. And that went even lower today because they got 0 hits and 0 runs on 5 innings. So we're going off. People before the season started were so worried, like, oh, what the hell is going to be going on with our bullpen? And I said that this bullpen would be great and that this would not be an issue of worry. So you're welcome for kind of proceeding what's come to fruition.
Chris, your favorite
seeing what's come to fruition.
Your favorite bullpen indivial, Will Vest, is just dominant, dude.
What a pickup!
9 1/3 innings, not even 0.96 ERA. 7 games pitched. He is a hell of a pickup. And I mean, even like when you look at the game yesterday, Saturday, the one game that we lost against the Astros, that's a 1-0 game. That ball, I mean, that score really doesn't happen anymore.
That's just credit to Zach Greinke for being Zach Greinke.
That's credit to who?
To Greinke, the Astros pitcher. He's
yeah.
nasty.
Yeah. No,
Nasty.
absolutely. But I'm more referring to, I mean, even just the ends giving up 1 run. I mean, who was on the bump for us on
Chris
Saturday?
Flexen, baby. Chris Flexen.
Flexen did just fine.
He did phenomenal.
But
I don't know. He gave up 10 hits, but only 1 run.
Exactly. And that's what matters.
Or I don't know if he gave up 10 hits.
But Greinke just was lights out. And that happens in baseball. He's also one of the more, I saw this thing the other day. I think he's one of the more weird pitchers out there. I don't know if there was this one thing I saw that just went into like his behaviors on and off the mound. And he's just kind of a weird dude, but he knows how to pitch a ball.
Yeah. Yeah. But another dominant force in the bullpen is Kendall Greenman. So dating back to September, in his last 9 appearances, it dates back to September last year, he's gone 11 in a third innings with a 2-0 record, 2 saves, and a 0.00 ERA.
That's 3 zeros.
That's 3 zeros.
Wow.
That's his last 9 appearances. So our bullpen, it ain't a thing to worry about. It's nasty. And another thing here today, we did see our starting pitcher, Mr. Margevicius, go out, and he's fine. Scott said after the game that he just started to feel fatigued, and so he decided to pull him out, precautionary reason. He's totally fine, no injuries at all. He just decided to bring LJ Newsome in, who was dominating the zone, stayed ahead of the count, and good job for LJ for getting his first career big league win. Welcome to the win column, big guy.
And that was a tough situation for him to come in too, because he had to take over. I think it was a 3-1 count, and for he wasn't able to warm out of the bullpen. He just had to throw, I think, just a short amount of pitches from the mound, and to come into that and battle through was very impressive. So congrats to him.
Outside of that, the rest of our starting pitchers really have been showing promising signs. Yusei at it again with a very solid game. And again, to Chris's point last episode, we saw him show a lot of emotion, and we like to see that emotion from Yusei. He's a hell of a pitcher, and he should go nuts when it's earned. Justice Sheffield looks like a boss on the mound. He did just great against the Orioles. Again, we'll say this: we like where we're sitting, Mariner fans. Get used to being on top. or
I love that. Yes, get used to it, baby. I don't know. We'll stay as happy. I'm happy to be here. I'll stay at number 1 all day, baby. Oh God, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's just the fucking electricity in the stadium. If you haven't had a chance to go get out there. It might be a little pricey because of the low amount of seats that they have, but just get there, cheer on the boys, let them hear you, and have a good time. It's so much fun being back, and you can tell my voice is gone, but oh God damn it, I love it.
Who do we have as a guest this week?
We have as a guest the director of player development, Mr. Andy McKay. We had a fun conversation with him. We just talked about kind of who he is, what his role is, and he has a big part in top to bottom of the entire organization. And kind of as Joe Doyle touched on in an interview with him about the communication within the team, making sure it's consistent across all levels. And Andy really dives into that. He kind of, I told him that I heard in an interview of his that he alluded to himself or referenced himself more so as kind of a principal of a high school. And that's kind of the job he kind of gave us, but he'll dive into all that and what he does. Really good guy to talk with. And I thought it was a pretty fun conversation. I'm excited for you guys to get some insight on what.
Yeah, what I like about our conversation with Andy is, I mean, this was much more of a wholesome kind of themed interview because Andy takes the perspective of outside of these, the Mariners and the folks in the farm system, as human beings. And that's his job, is to get them to stay motivated and to stay happy and healthy. And just from what he tells us, it's a very unique position to have and to hold. So without further ado, let's see what Andy has to say.
Hey guys,
Hey, Andy. How's it going, man?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing
Good.
good. Kind of bummed that we got the game canceled again today.
I know. I
Two
know.
double headers isn't too bad.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to connect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really appreciate you taking the time, Andy. Really look forward to just kind of diving in and learning really more about you and kind of getting some insight on our boys here. But to kind of kick it off, do you mind kind of just introducing to the listeners, who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff?
Sure. My name is Andy McKay. I'm the director of player development with the Seattle Mariners. And that job kind of involves um, helping to create our curriculum that we teach with our players, running our minor league system, and coaching our coaches, placing our players at different levels, assigning the coaching staffs, hiring the coaches, and being highly involved in what we're teaching.
I
That
love
sounds
it.
it sounds like you do a bit of everything.
I do a bit of everything. Yeah, it's the way I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard you in an interview refer to yourself kind of as a principal, right, of a school, kind of with these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a decent analogy of the high school, and you're there to help everybody. You're there to help the coaches or the teachers as well as the students. And, I've spent most of my life teaching. And so it's kind of an analogy that resonates with me.
I love
Well-
it. Oh, Max, you go. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the most pressing question that I had, Andy, given the times that we're in right now, right? How is it that you're able to keep these guys motivated, both the coaches and the players, but from a minor league level all the way up to the actual M's? How is it that you've been able to keep them motivated, keep them excited to play? And this time last year, we had no idea that there was going to be a 2021 season. So, I mean, what was the biggest challenge around that?
Yeah. In terms of motivation, I think you'd be surprised. I don't know if you're aware, but these jobs pay pretty well every month. And, everybody wants one of those jobs. So, being a Major League Baseball player is a really good life if you can do it. So the motivation piece is not that hard. The education piece is, and helping them along that journey, but they'll want to get better and they'll want to advance in the system and get to the major leagues. That's not a hard one. We don't spend a lot of time encouraging people to try to get better. It's like
that comes naturally as a big league player.
It should. It
Yeah.
should.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like being a rock star. I think it's good work if you can find it, and it's a pretty neat thing to get to play baseball for a living.
So what about those guys what about that? I'm going to bring Jared for an example. He's obviously motivated to make the big leagues and he's gonna, but what do those conversations look like when it's like, hey, like a little bit more time, a little bit more T's we need to cross, a few more I's we need to dot before we think that you're going to be ready. Like what do those conversations look like with him and maybe similar guys?
Yeah, I mean, then the conversations are the same with all of the players, whether it's Jared, who obviously gets a lot of attention and deservedly so, or any of our players from anywhere from really Tacoma to Boca Chica, but also in the major leagues. We're trying to get better, and whatever we're doing today, can we do it better tomorrow? Can we find a way to constantly improve? And that goes for our coaching staff as well. But specifically, you're always trying to remind players of just the basic math, which is there aren't that many jobs. Let's say if you're an outfielder, there's basically 90 jobs. There's 30 teams and they have 3 of them and they got 4 of them. So there's 120 of these jobs in the world and they're all taken. And behind you, when you graduate to the major league level, that means somebody has to leave the major league level. One comes in, one goes out. And just like you are passionately trying to get there, which is a nice way for saying take somebody's existing job away from them.
Sure.
There's going to be somebody behind you as well. And we know what the math says. Most careers are very, very short. Getting to the big leagues is the hardest thing you could ever do until you get there. Then the hardest thing you can ever do is stay there. And 60% of careers are lasting under 3 years. And I'll give you guys a great analogy, and this is the truth. I'm assuming you've been to a Mariners game or two. It looks like you're
Been to a few.
Oh
Big
yeah.
time.
fans,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Best ballpark in baseball. I think
Without a doubt.
Amen.
I'll be there Saturday, 13 rows up behind home plate.
Good for you. That's a
Yes,
good
sir.
seat.
Yeah, I got lucky. I bought some tickets last year for a concert that got canceled, and then the Game Time app refunded me. So I realized I had a ton of extra credit money. So I was like, I'm gonna use this and buy some good seats.
Well, it's funny, Andy. I was actually gonna, we'll jump back into this, but we congratulations on getting the COVID vaccine. I was gonna be there with Chris sitting next to him, but I come to you live with the actual virus. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Here's my actual card.
There it is.
I'm one shot away from
yep.
from being in the clear, maybe.
So I wasn't eligible.
Weren't you supposed to get your shot like today, Max?
No, I was supposed to get it 3 days from now, but luckily they allowed me to move it to May 1st. So, but man, is this virus not fun? And it sounds like you were feeling pretty under the weather last week, Andy. Yeah,
it hit me pretty hard on the first shot, and so we'll see.
Yeah,
but back to the original question.
Sure.
I don't think anybody wants to really hear about our COVID shot.
Nope.
Nope.
If you go to T-Mobile Park, and every player in the history of Major League Baseball, going all the way back to the Ty Cobbs and everybody who's ever played one day of Major League Baseball, if they all came to a Mariners game at the same day, it would not fill up the lower deck. So if you want to put it into perspective of how hard this is to accomplish, it would not fill up the lower deck. And then if you just start breaking it down by how long the careers are, okay, 60% of them don't last 3 years.
Yep.
So when you start getting into these elite, 10 plus years, players who have played 10 years or more in the big leagues, Scott Service is one of them. They would literally sit in those nice seats that you're going to sit in the other night, Saturday night, basically right behind home plate in the lower deck.
Yeah.
There's that few of them,
And to your knowledge, do these players they're aware of this, fact, right?
They know what they're up against to some extent. I mean, we have a diagram that tries to show it to them on a daily basis. This is a reminder of not in a fear creating way, but
it seems daunting. Yeah.
How hard it is to get there. And players who spend 5 years or more in the big leagues, they basically would sit between first and third base, in that lower bowl.
Yep.
So it's an incredible challenge. It's an incredible honor to play one day in the major leagues, and to stick is so hard just because of the basic math. We keep drafting guys each year. And so when you see a player like on our team of like what a Kyle Seager's accomplished, or what Mitch Haniger's doing, even Marco, they've already had incredible careers. When you had what Edgar did.
Yeah.
Junior, just the fact you stay there for 10 years puts you in a bucket of about 1,500 people in the history of the game that have ever done that. So it's a humbling thing, and you got to maintain that perspective that the game is so hard, and what these players are up against every night is overwhelming. And you have to remember they're just people, you know, and I have always said that they're not special people. They're normal people who have a fairly unique skill set, and, but they've got off the field problems. They've got children with earaches, they've got dentist appointments that they have to get to, and I think I've told this story, but I'm staying in the Silver Cloud Hotel 3 or 4 years ago, and we had a huge win. We were playing really well at the time, and the place was packed, and we won, and it went nuts. It was one of the most electric atmospheres, honestly, I've been in that ballpark. And one of the key players in that game was also staying in the Silver Cloud. And after about an hour of me not being able to sleep because there was a screaming baby in the room next to me, I finally said, I'm just going to go for a walk.
Yeah.
So I get up, put on my clothes. I'm going to go for a walk, and I go in the hallway, and it's our player out there bouncing the baby, trying to get the baby to go to sleep. And I'm like, wow, things have really changed for you in the last 90 minutes. Having the crowd go wild for you to now you're out here as a young father trying to get this baby to go to sleep, and
exhausted.
That baby doesn't care that you can hit.
No.
Was that Seager?
I'm not going to give you that.
All right.
Fair enough.
So one thing I wanted to ask Andy, we had Joe Doyle on the show a while ago, and writer for Lookout Landing and stuff, and he was kind of explaining to us the organizational communication piece that the Mariners have really implemented, that you've had a part in as well, big part, and keeping the communication consistent from top to bottom. And you were kind of saying that you alluded to it in a question I asked regarding saying, how do the conversations look like with Jared? You're like, well, these are the same with all the players, those types of conversations. And so the communication aspect being the same from top to bottom, like what does that kind of look like for the organization?
Well, I think we do a fair job of it. And I think when you talk about communication, like even if you're really good at it, you're still not that good at it. Like communicating is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly doing it across an organization spread around the world is even harder. But we make a very concerted effort that, the verbiage we use in Seattle it's the same verbiage we're using in Boca Chica. And we're stressing the same things. We're trying to communicate it in a similar way, even though you have to communicate things differently to different people. But we have a playbook, and that playbook is the same one that sits on Scott's desk. It's on my desk. It's on all of our managers' desks. So we really do have a strategy that we have in place, and we have a very thorough manual that's actually very small compared to most. But one of the ways that you try to manage or measure the effectiveness of what you're doing in terms of managing people is just the consistency of the words. And so when I can hear and my job is unique, I can be in Modesto one night and be in Seattle the next, or I can be in Everett with a first-year player and be in Seattle that afternoon. But when you hear hitters in a cage in Modesto talking and using similar language to hitters in the big leagues, that your program is taking off a bit. And we've been able to accomplish that in a lot of ways, and we've had some real highlights there. We've had some clunkers that, we have to go back and kind of self-assess, saying, where did we lose the message here? Where did we lose the communication on this? But I think we're pretty good at it. And like I said, being pretty good at communicating means you're just like the best worst of everybody, because communicating is a really hard thing for human beings for some reason.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. We're both in sales, and that's the bread and butter of our job, is trying to communicate with all different types of people. So I hear that for sure. Mm-hmm. One of the guys I wanted to talk about or ask about was the development of Yusei Kikuchi. He's been, since the 3 years he's been in the league now, like he's continues to get better, but most significantly, I noticed his enthusiasm and his emotion on the mound after getting some strikeouts, and that I hadn't always seen. And so is that something that you guys have said to him, like, it's okay to show emotion, or have you helped kind of bring that out of him?
When you say not me personally, but it's been an ongoing effort, to help him understand how good he is. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing it, and you've seen flashes of it over the years, and but you're really starting to see it all come together, and just the evolution of the stuff, just meaning pure velocity and the secondary pitches you saw really coming on last year in a shortened season. And now you're seeing that put together with a real confidence that I think he's starting to see he belongs on that field. Yeah. And he can dominate that field. And it's a fun thing to watch. And you're 100% right. If you just watch the games, you're seeing the emotion, you're seeing the strut off of the mound, or the fist, pounding of the glove, just things like that, which it's not necessarily good or bad. It's good for him.
Yeah.
And it keeps him in that attack mentality. And it's great to watch because you've seen the evolution, and he's worked really hard for it. So
Yep.
it's really good for him, and it's great for us.
Yep. Well, I mean, to talk to us about another individual that you might have been excited about this season so far. I mean, notably, Chris and I came to the table with we want to ask you about the JP Crawfords and the Justin Dunns, the individuals that came to the bigs having to hit a couple milestones or quote unquote, what's the word I'm looking for? Checkpoints. Yeah. But I mean, are there other individuals in which, you've worked with or you and your team have worked with that you've seen a significant improvement that you're particularly excited about?
It's a big question because there's so many players out there.
Fair enough.
And work means a lot of different things, but like if you just go around our field, it's kind of a loose kind of starting in the outfield.
Yeah.
What Mitch Haniger is doing is amazing. Okay.
That is,
what he has been through, the amount
accurate.
of time he's had off.
Yeah.
What he had to deal with from a rehab standpoint is so incredibly inspiring to see him do that. And that's another, a normal fan. I don't use the word normal as a negative. Understand what a grueling rehab process really looks like, with not knowing if it's going to work or not. What James Paxton is about to begin going through.
Yeah.
So that's just it's a great thing to watch. Kyle Lewis is getting healthy, but I know exactly what Kyle went through for the better part of 2.5 years in recovering from that knee injury in Everett, which obviously culminated. And people forget about this. He won the Rookie of the Year last year. Last year was the first spring training he was able to participate in.
Right. Yeah.
So little things like that, you can say, well, maybe just the improvement of those two. To Taylor, we acquired Taylor Trammell last year. It's his second major trade. It's his third organization. He comes to Tacoma to the alternate site, and the smoke rolls in, and we're not able to do a whole lot. And now he shows up and he's starting to feel comfortable with himself. He's starting to feel comfortable in the organization. And that's been great to watch, whether it's Dylan Moore, JP Crawford, what Kyle Seager is doing at this stage of his career. He's as good as anybody out there, and he's still finding ways to get better, which is great. Luis Torrens, so improvement comes in so many different ways. And then you go to the pitching staff, and to see, I made the phone call when I called Justice Sheffield in AAA and said, you're going to AA. And to see the evolution of what has transpired from really that day. He went to AA. He was outstanding, came back up, was good last year, pitched really a great game yesterday. The evolution of what Dunn did in this offseason. Marco's Marco. I knew Marco when he was in college. His dad is a coach with the Rockies that I coached with.
Right. He's
made a lot of improvements to become one of the most consistent, starting pitchers in the American League. You just mentioned Yusei, in that mix. So it can go on and on. You have to keep getting better to stick in this league. And even the good players have to get better. Mitch Haniger was an all-star.
Yeah.
But what he's gone through is probably the most challenging thing he's been through in the game. And I don't want to
there's no other way to do it. It sounds like, just because from what we're hearing too, it's like there is no other progression except for forward. If you do want to have those 3+ year careers, right? And once you hit that landmark, right? Like that's, and to your opinion, a very, very, very successful career. It's not about making the Hall of Fame, but it's about contributing to a team or teams for more than 3+ years, 5+ years. And,
one day in the big leagues is a big deal.
Yeah, of course it is. Right.
But when, like I tell guys all the time, how bad do you want to get to the big leagues? As bad as anything I've ever wanted. Great. When you get there, there'll be thousands of people in the minor leagues with the same mindset that want the job, and they're just as confident that they're going to take it, that they're going to take your job as you are, that you're going to take somebody's job up there.
Yep.
And, if you can maintain a healthy perspective, because it is a really difficult industry, and it tears your heart out constantly. Not just the winning and the losing, but players getting traded or released, and all of these moves are good news, bad news. Hey, so and so is coming to the big leagues to make their debut.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Trammell made the team, made his debut. Well, that was somebody's spot.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody didn't make that team because Taylor Trammell did, and you just have to always have that understanding and that feel for the difficulty of that situation. When players get called up for the first time, somebody's locker is getting cleaned out.
Yeah.
Or somebody's dealing with an unfortunate injury.
Exactly.
It's hard.
Yeah. On the topic of, you brought up Kyle Lewis earlier, and just wanted to dive into that. So once Kyle gets off the IL, right, which should be any day now, right, is my understanding.
Yeah, it appears to be somewhere, maybe possibly this weekend.
Okay, got it. Talk to us what Chris and I have been, and Chris, who did we interview that gave us that stat that he started playing baseball around the age of 15 or 16?
That was either Joe or Jesse Smith.
Yeah.
One of them was telling us that Kyle didn't start playing in baseball until he was like 15 or 16 years old.
Mm-hmm. How does that change, from your job, from your role? How does that, I mean, is there a different approach in working with a guy like Kyle Lewis?
Based on him starting late?
Yeah.
No, not really. But, you do find, most of our players come to us with very unique paths, whether it's an international signee who has never actually played in a real baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone to workouts and they've taken batting practice and faced pitching, but they've never actually played a 9-inning baseball game. To, maybe an elite high school player that doesn't play on their high school team because they're playing in showcases all the time. To, the college player who, plays in the SEC and is playing in front of big crowds every weekend, trying to go to Omaha to win the College World Series. And it's a great piece of baseball, and especially minor league baseball, where, in years past, whenever it was our short season club, you could go there with first year players and you're dealing with, players who have, college degrees from Stanford next to a high school player, next to an international player, and all those different experiences. And you don't necessarily coach them differently, but you just understand everybody's different. And even players with like the same kind of upbringing. I mean, Mitch is very different than Kyle Lewis.
Totally.
Different than Evan White. And, Marco is one of the most competitive humans you'll ever meet. So they're all different people. They're all unique. And they have to be honored as being individuals and being who they are, because you can't fake it, and you can't be somebody else. You have to be yourself. And, when Marco goes out and competes, you're seeing the real Marco. That's who he is as a person.
Mm-hmm.
When you see Kyle out there with that big smile on his face, that's Kyle being Kyle. And it's great. And
I've always noticed that Kyle always is chatting up the third base coach for the other team, and he's always. I hear what you're saying. I've always seen Kyle's personality show on the diamond.
Well, the games are so difficult and the pressure is so real. It's going to reveal who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. You can't be one of the best in the world faking it and trying to be somebody you're not. And you don't have to be. You can play this game so many different ways. You can, I was at the game when Adrian Beltre played his last game, obviously a former Mariner, but I always thought this guy leads the league in fun every year. And it's beautiful to watch, It
was him and Elvis Andrus when they would always steal the ball from each other, right?
Yeah. Or, and then you'd watch, Jay Buhner. I don't know if he was having fun. I'm sure he was, but it was like, my life is on the line every pitch of this game, and that's him, and that's great too. And you got to be yourself, and we try to honor our people and let them be themselves, and not ask them to be somebody they're not.
That's what I've been noticing that. I think all the fans have noticed that, and Scott as well does a great job with letting the players really speak their minds and be true to themselves, which is great to see. I mean, any organization, whether it be sports, whether it be in sales at a tech company, I mean, if
life in general outside of baseball. I mean, these points that you're bringing to us, Andy. You know, I've played baseball several years, and Chris played a few years too. But like a lot of these points apply to everyday life, and
of course,
exactly. And I think
it really is
absolutely.
It's cool to see. And one thing I'm kind of curious, and as I was reading up on you, Andy, you've been huge on obviously the mental aspect of things, and so I'm kind of curious, like when Evan White is struggling at the plate, because his glove is gonna keep him in the league, and when he's struggling, I was listening to a podcast with I forget who it was, but Evan White was on it, and Evan was, I think he alluded to you and was saying like, yeah, like the conversations I've had with Andy, it's like kind of just trying to stay in the moment, forget about the previous at bat, don't think about anything else. Like, how do you approach those conversations? Like, hey, you're in this league, you're going to be in this league. Here's how you can continue to kind of mentally stay strong.
Yeah. And whether it's Evan or anybody, the concepts are very similar, and you kind of hit it on the head there, which is, can I just be present? You know, can I manage fear? Can I manage stress? And be where my feet are, and not be 3 seconds ahead of what might happen if I get a hit, or what will happen if I don't get a hit. And, you know, one of the, and I've coached basically every level of this game, from my son's little league team to the major leagues and everything in between. The issues are the issues.
Yeah.
You know, I've watched major league players cry because of stress. You know, I've watched AA players cry. I watched high school players punch a wall and become overcome with fear because if they don't get a hit, our team loses. So, you know, that emotional intelligence is it's no different than what you guys do, what I do. It's just, it's a lot harder in that environment. And so the concepts all revolve around, you know, forget about the result. You can't control it. Focus on the process of what we're doing and trust that it's going to work over 162 games. And, you know, and I say these kids, they're young men, but they're still growing and developing. And, you know, most players end up figuring this out at some point, but it just takes a lot of life experiences and perspectives and, you know, perspective changes and adjustments and they generally get it. So.
I'm curious, like as to some of your methodologies, and some of them might be, you know, secretive and trademarked or what have you.
There's no secrets, my friend.
Well, let me ask. You've said a lot of trigger words that remind me of, you know, a lot of meditative practices. Do you kind of suggest those to the players?
Absolutely. And, you know, we have a mental skills group that works with them. And
outstanding.
You know, so like, I'll give you an example. One of our best players, if you watch really closely on Root Sports, we'll plug there for Root. You can see the player doing this, you know, their goal in the batter's box is to focus on nothing other than their breathing and then the baseball. And so in those moments that are building up to the pitcher winding up, all they're trying to do is feel the breath going in and out of their nose.
Yep.
And if they can just stay with their breath, that keeps their mind from racing all over the place. What if I strike out? Oh my God, he might throw a curveball here. You know, I'd like to hit a home run. All these unproductive thoughts, because your best performance never involves thought. You know, not even positive thoughts. Positive thoughts are still distractions, you know? And so it's just about being where your feet are, and that breathing, meditative, the ability to have thoughts but not attached to them, the ability to have a thought enter your mind and just let it go, rather than chase it. And then you start chasing it, and every thought creates an image in our brain. and then our body tries to create those images. And, it's as simple as, say, the bases are loaded. We're down by 2. Grand slam would be great here. That's normal talk, right? And if you follow that thought process and you get in the batter's box and you're thinking, I'm going to try to hit a grand slam here, it generally doesn't work out.
Yeah.
You'd be much better off focusing on your breathing and seeing the baseball and just letting whatever happens.
Well, that's 2 things that I want the listeners to take away from this too. It's like, number one, I myself meditate a lot. And obviously it's outside the context of baseball, but the same practices apply to everyday life, and thoughts are just thoughts. You see them objectively, and you see them pass, you see them come and go, which is a very important life lesson. But one thing that I'm curious about, I might have an idea of who exactly you're talking about, because I've seen a lot of Mariner
Got to be
games.
JP Crawford. JP's breathing in the box. He looks so dialed in and so focused in the moment. That's the name that popped into my head.
Well, a lot of guys that we've seen, could classify as this. And Chris, we can maybe deliberate this in our off segment when Andy.
And I'm not going to tell you. So
of course
we know.
not.
Oh,
no,
we know.
Of course
we
not.
know.
Of course not. Yeah. No. In fact, it's a little bit. It leaves a little bit more room for studying for our listeners and ourselves. So that's much appreciated. But Chris, you got anything else for Andy?
One side question, because you brought up you coached at every level, and this was just a random question. What are the differences, or what's worse, when you're coaching your son's little league team and you got dads and parents in the stands yelling at you, or when you're coaching in the big leagues and you got players yelling at you, or not players, excuse me, fans in the stands, like those normal guys that aren't as close?
It's an interesting question, because it is similar in many ways, and coaching other people's kids is a challenge. Well, every player is somebody's kid, and or is a kid of somebody, and it's hard. What youth coaches go through is unbelievable. High school coaches, there's a reason that burnout level is so incredibly high.
Yeah.
And it's really part of the territory. And I don't deal with parents anymore, but I'll my kids will send me an article and I'm like, oh my God, Dad, did you read the comments on this? It's like, of course I didn't read the comment.
I read the article.
I won't even read the article. So, and I think, that's a deal I make with myself. I don't read any of it. I won't watch this podcast.
Sure.
Mostly I don't like how I look on Zoom calls, and I can't stand the sound of my
Andy,
voice.
We're in a similar boat, my friend.
I don't read articles. I don't read the good ones. I don't read the bad ones. I don't look at comments, because they're all opinion pieces that I'm more focused on my relationship with the kids I'm coaching, and the men I'm coaching, and the coaches that I'm responsible for leading. And the other stuff is just, it's mostly noise. And our media does a great job. They do.
Sure.
And, their job is not to be our fans. Their job are to tell a story and to tell a truth. And when you sign up for this business, you understand that you're going to have bad nights and people are going to write the truth.
Yep.
Which means you weren't very good tonight, and, it comes with it. And,
yep.
But there's a lot of people who thrive on reading those things, and, it adds fuel to their fire. And when somebody writes something good, it makes them feel good. And when somebody writes something bad, it pisses them off, and they want to use that energy to prove people wrong. And, it's a hard way to live, but it's an effective strategy for a lot of people. So.
Well, Andy, you've been super generous with your time with us. We look forward to having you help us make it to October. We appreciate you spending your time with us here.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. I appreciate your passion and the support, and you guys are really the reason that we do what we do. Without you, we can't do this. And I can tell you, our group, our players understand that. Mm-hmm. Our players understand an obligation to our fans, and seeing that you guys have this kind of passion for the Mariners, and I'm looking at your banner and your jersey, and the Space Needle and your hats. It's awesome. And So I commend you for it, and I thank you for it, and just reminded it is appreciated and doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you. That means a lot. And we are true to the blue. The Manners. I always tell people they hurt so good. We're both 27 in 2001. We were both in first grade. We don't really remember the Manners ever being in the playoffs, and so just to kind of see the different organization that we've had in the past 5 years, the way it's been growing and the way that we've been improving year over year, and then to see the young guys, I see that they all in interviews talk like, I want to bring a trophy to Seattle. They're not even saying playoffs. Like, I want to bring a trophy to Seattle. Yeah. Like that stuff fires me up. And it's great to see. But yeah, it's awesome to hear you say that and really appreciate your time here today, Andy. It was great talking with you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes,
Take
sir, man.
care of yourself.
Go Ems.
Bye-bye.
Go Ems. Hell of a guy. And
yeah,
do you think we'll ever figure out who he was talking about? The batter who meditates before he steps in the box.
Just has a very clear head at the box. It's got to be JP Crawford.
I thought it was Kyle Seager, man.
No, man, it's JP. It's got to
be.
Yeah, it's got.
Well, actually, I can buy that because JP has turned it around.
Dude, JP's turned around big time. And just like if you look at him and you pay really close attention to JP when he's in the box and looking at a pitch and getting ready, you can just see that his head and his mind is just like blank. Yeah. And like he just is like completely in the moment and thinking about nothing else. Like right when Andy was like bringing that up and he was like talking to us about, meditation and getting these guys to have nothing on their mind when there's in the boxes. And he brings up one guy, but Andy multiple times in that interview, he alluded to some players, but wouldn't give us their names. I tried fishing them out of them, but we had no luck, and it was pretty funny. But you look at JP in the box, and it's calmness. It's awesome, and it's just the guy has been tearing it up lately, and so it's fun.
Yeah, to our listeners out there, maybe you can help us out too. When you're watching the Mariners, keep an eye out for when they're showing the camera on our batters, see, who's standing there taking a deep breath and clearing their minds, and let it be known that shit works too. Coming from yours truly who meditates, it works. But yeah, I thought that was really fun.
So what are you guys thinking for this upcoming week? They got the Dodgers, probably the best team in baseball, at home. Sheffield's on the mound for game 1. Then you got Marco in game 2. Oof. So what's your guys' outlook for this week?
Did you guys see Mookie Betts' catch?
No.
Oh, he had a walk-off game-winning catch against the Padres last night, and it was nasty. It was diving. He was in center field, diving robbery, and it's like caught it right before it hits the ground, and full on Superman dive, and like game. It was bottom of the ninth, 2 outs to the Padres, and that was crazy. But they're nasty. They are real good. Yeah, and like you said, probably the best team in the league. And I love that the M's have been starting off like against really difficult teams. We have the O's are the weakest team that we've played. Other than that, I mean, we've had pretty damn strong opponents. If we could just split this series, this 2-game series, that's all we need to do is split this. We got Sheffield on the mound tomorrow. Then we got Marco. So, I mean, if Sheff can come out and get this first W, start us off. I mean, obviously winning the first game in any series is huge, especially when it's a 2-game series. And like we said earlier in the opening of this show, we our bullpens are the 2 best in the league right now, and so this is going to be tough for the offense. They are a really strong offense too. I mean, it's going to be a tough test that I'm really excited for us to get going towards. And if we can get Kalu back for both games, it's going to be massive. As long as we can get him back, he'll be back for Tuesday. But we just got to get that 1-1 split at least.
I don't know. Something tells me that we might take this 2-0.
Max, I love that.
This is the most optimistic Mariners podcast out there. So.
Well, I went with the level-headed approach with the Orioles, right? I said we were going to do 2-2 split, but something tells me, man, I think to Chris's point earlier in the episode, our guys feed off of the energy and feed off of success. And I think I think at this point, the Mariners have a chip on their shoulder because a lot of people out there are saying, what the hell are the Mariners doing at the top of the standings in the West? And I think that's fuel enough for them to be to go out and get 2 W's against the best team in baseball for the time being. I think that there's a good shot, but I think there's no way in the world that we lose both of them. So I'm going to sit, I'm sitting here telling you guys that I'm predicting a 2-0 series win sweep. Bring out the brooms, bring out the tiny brooms. But
all we got to do is score 4 or more runs, because the Mariners are now 9-2
Yep.
when we score 4 or more runs. And so if we can do that, I mean, that just is, our bullpen's been dominant. It's been electric. It's huge that Cody Bellinger is also out.
Yeah. The crazy thing here too is we're scoring all of our runs in the latter half of the game.
Yeah,
right.
It's so much fun.
What we've had 5 come from behind wins. Make that 6 after today. I think if you want to account that
we scored first, but then they took the lead. So yeah.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. But back. Still, we're coming from behind and we're not putting ourselves down out of the count. And that just means our hitters are motivated and they don't give a shit if we're down 3-4-0 in the 6th inning, because there's a lot of ball game to be played. And that's going to be hopefully not a painful, that's just going to be a fun reality to deal with throughout the rest of the season. And it means that y'all should not turn off the game in the 7th inning when we're down 6-2.
Don't do it. Don't do it, you big dummy. Don't do it. Stay riding. Stay riding. Anything is possible. Kevin Garnett, anything is possible.
And then, so what? We've got the Dodgers, and then we hit the road and we head east to Boston.
Yes, off day on Wednesday. And then we got a 4-game series against the Red Sox. And they've been...
That's scary.
They're tied with us, I think, for the best record right now. We both got 10 wins now. Mm-hmm. But that'll be a fun test. And I don't know like how the Red Sox are doing, like as good as they are. I didn't expect them to be this good. And granted, their first like 6 of their first games were against the Orioles, 6 or 7 of them, and so that's a small sample size. So I don't think their record really shows what they are. Yeah. I think at least 3. I think we're taking that 3-1.
3-1, huh?
Yeah, I really do. I think we're about to turn it the hell up with Kyle Lewis coming back. Our offense is going to be so good. It's going to be awesome.
Going to be raw.
It's going to be raw, baby. Yeah.
I'm really excited for Kyle Lewis to come back.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean for Taylor Trammell? I mean, his bat is struggling, but you know, we're excited about him. But at the same time, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, he's going to have less playing time for sure.
Well, doesn't that mean? Oh wait, Kyle Lewis is already on a roster, which means no one has to get sent down.
He's on the injured list, so I don't know.
I think you would have to send somebody down if he gets activated off the injured list. But I mean, when Trammell he could like slide over to because Mitch would be in right, and maybe could slide over to left, and
maybe something happens with Sam Haggerty.
Oh, Sam Haggerty will probably go down.
Speaking of Sam Haggerty, how about that bomb he hit in Baltimore?
God.
The guy started out as 1 for 15 on the season, and I don't know, he just out of nowhere just has that pop, and that was pretty amazing to see. They lost unfortunately, but man, that was a moonshot, man.
That was a moonshot.
He's so far.
So Mariners Twitter, they said that he was the second guy ever since Griffey to hit Utah Street. Mm-hmm. That's incorrect. Shed Long did it.
Shed Long?
Yeah.
What? Last year?
I don't know what year it was, but I know Shed Long's done it. And so they shout out to you, Shed Long. Respect where respect is due. You hit Utah Street too. So, but still, Sam Haggerty, showing big man strength. He's not a big man. That was cool.
Real recognize real.
Real does recognize real. Yeah. But that's what we got coming up. It's going to be a fun another week here of baseball, another cardiac kids as the Mariners have been, emotional roller coasters, ups and downs, and ending with more W's than L's. And I'm loving it. And Viva Ta France, he's taking my heart, so I bought his jersey.
Whoa!
Custom made for those.
Got a new jersey alert,
for those on the YouTube.
Whoop 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 whoop!
My friends, baby. And quick trivia question: who was the last Mariners player to wear number 23? Nelson Cruz.
Nelly.
Okay.
Nelly. Yeah. But so Ty France, he's wearing that 2-3, that Michael Jordan, baby.
Yep.
But what a ride it's been. What a week of baseball that was. What a start to the season it's been, and it's going to continue to be with these with more guys coming up. We're about to continue reloading with the guys in our farm team these next few years, and we are just getting started. And you guys can see the magic that's starting to happen. And Jerry's pulling rabbits out of hats. It's nice.
Rabbits out of hats, man. We love magic.
Yeah,
Monday Mojo magic.
Baby. Monday Mojo magic, baby. Monday Mojo, record on a Sunday, dropped on a Monday. We appreciate you listeners, and stay tuned for another phenomenal week of baseball. Go in.
That's right, listeners. Stay tuned for a lot more baseball to come around. If you're in Seattle, get the hell outside. Have a great week. Thanks for listening. And as Chris said, go Mariners.